build legal AI for a living. So a while back, I did the obvious thing and pointed our own tool at our own signed contracts, the ones we'd already negotiated, reviewed, and put behind us. It found things in there that nobody on my team was tracking. A renewal we were about to roll into by accident. Obligations we'd agreed to and forgotten. And a clause or two I would never have approved it if I caught them at the time. We talked to legal, procurement, and finance teams every week, and almost all of them have the same blind spot. Everything they've already signed. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we build our own legal AI agent so you can set one up at your own company. Get through your contracts in way less time and trust everything it gives you. Let's get into it. Alright, so when more contracts keep coming in, the first instinct of legal teams is typically to just go through them faster. But the faster you go, the more you miss. And the thing you skim past isn't usually the clause that's there and worded badly. It's the clause that's missing entirely. And when you're under pressure, you catch what's on the page. You don't catch what's quietly left off it. And now it's missing from the contract you've already signed. And I see this constantly. I talk to legal and procurement teams every week. And the story is almost always the same. A 50-page contract that isn't standard. The kind that should take a full day to review properly lands on someone's desk in the middle of an already overloaded week. They get through it. But getting through it under that kind of pressure means skimming. And skimming is exactly when the missing clause slips by, because you can't catch was never written down in the first place. So your next instinct is to bring in more help, either by expanding your legal department or sending the extra contracts to an outside law firm. The problem with that is that a law firm charges premium rates regardless of whether the work is complex. So you're paying a fortune for basic reviews that don't need a law firm at all. And there's hiring more lawyers in-house, which is slow and expensive. Exactly the kind of cost a CFO is trying to cut. So reviewing faster or hiring more people was never going to fix this. That's when you might start thinking about leveraging AI. But here's the trap most teams fall into. They open ChatGPT or Copilot, paste in a contract, and get an answer back that sounds confident. The problem isn't speed, it's that you can't tell whether it's right and you can't see where it got it from. That's why the AI agent I'm about to show you can take a contract, check it against your rules, and show you what's wrong and show you exactly why, all on its own. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to go over how I build it ourselves using our solution, Legartis. So the first thing the agent needed was my playbook, because without one, it's just guessing at which terms my company would and wouldn't agree to. A playbook is just your company's rulebook for the contracts you want to review. Which terms you'll accept, which ones you'll push back on, and when a deal needs a senior lawyer. Building one used to be the worst part of all this, because it meant going through hundreds of old contracts and writing out every rule yourself. Now, the part I didn't expect was that I didn't have to write that whole playbook from a blank page. I uploaded a set of our existing contracts and let the playbook creator pull out the positions we take again and again, turning them into a draft requirements I could then review, sharpen, and approve. I'm still the one making the call on each rule. I'm just not starting from nothing. So a job that used to drag on for months gets the heavy lifting done in days instead, because the first draft of the rules comes straight out of the contracts I'd already signed. By the way, if you want an agent like this reviewing your own contracts against your playbook specifically, click the first link in the description to book a demo with Legartis. Anyway, let's get back to it. Once the agent had my rules, I had it work through my entire archive of signed contracts, dating back years. What surprised me was how much it found, because I had things in my contracts I never even knew I had agreed to. There were clauses I should never have accepted, obligations nobody on my team was tracking, and renewal days I completely forgotten about. And again, I'm not the only one. One team I spoke to recently kept all of this in people's heads. They knew which agreements were expiring and which renewals were coming up because one or two long tenured people simply remembered. Their honest fear wasn't a bad clause. It was one of those people goes on leave or leaves the company and walks out the door with the only copy of that knowledge. The ones that genuinely worried me were the renewal dates, because missing one of those isn't just some small mistake. mistake. If you miss the cancellation deadline, you're automatically locked into another full year with the vendor you were trying to leave. Another year of costs you never meant to pay. Before this, the only way to stay on top of every deadline across hundreds of contracts was to hope someone on the team remembered. But now, that problem is solved because Legartis keeps my whole contract portfolio in one place, in a dashboard we call Contract Insights. From there, I can see every risk, every deadline, every obligation at a glance across views like Health Overview and Risk by Policy. And the moment something needs attention, it's right there in front of me, and the contract manager responsible gets a notification in the app and by email before it terminates or auto-renews. Another company that uses Legartis has a 9-person legal team handling more than 10,000 contracts a year, and the agent lets them keep up with it all without reading every page. Now, the more contracts I let the agent review, the more I need to be sure that it is getting things right. Running one contract through an AI is easy, but letting it review my whole portfolio only works if I can see exactly how it arrived at each decision. Because if I rely on the agent's review, I'm the one who signed off on it. If procurement acts on a review and it was wrong, that's on me, not on the model. So I need to be able to explain exactly how each answer was reached. And I've seen what happens when teams skip this step. They run contracts through a general tool like Copilot or ChatGPT. The answers come back sounding completely confident, and nobody can tell whether the source behind it is real or invented. That's fine until the one time it's wrong. And then you've signed off on something you can't actually defend. So the way I check it comes down to one thing. I never have to take the agent's word for it. For every single clause, the agent shows me the explanation for why it decided what it decided, and it points me straight to the exact sentence in the contract it based that on. Every change I make is logged into history, so there's a full audit trail behind every review. That's the part that lets me actually trust it. I'm not getting a verdict, I'm getting a reasoning I can check. And before I rely on a playbook at all, I calibrate it using something we built into Legartis called user tuning. The agent takes a batch of my own contracts, shows me exactly how it applied each rule so I can see its reasoning and fix anything that got wrong. Under the hood, each rule gets scored against a test set, an F1 score, a reliability grade from 0 to 1 for how accurately the agent applies that rule. User tuning is how we push every rule, so I know it's accurate before it reviews anything on its own. Take the team I mentioned earlier, the 9-person legal team handling over 10,000 contracts a year. Before they could trust the agent at that volume, every clause in their playbook was automatically calibrated while reviewing the contracts. Their playbook came in at 0.95. Alright, the last part is keeping lawyers on the contracts that genuinely need a human. The agent handles the routine, high volume contracts on its own. My team only steps in on the deals and exceptions the playbook doesn't cover. And here's the one place I deliberately keep a lawyer in the loop. The agent can already take a real first pass at the legal questions. It doesn't just flag that a clause has to comply with a specific law, can actually assess it because it draws on the legal sources we connect to it, the statutes, case law, and the commentary. So you get a grounded first opinion, not a guess. But the final call still sits with the lawyer because the law moves and the liability is mine, not the model's. The agent does the heavy lifting and the first read. My team owns the judgment that carries the real risk. And since these contracts contain personal data and everything runs on our own servers in Switzerland and the EU, it stays GDPR compliant. That way, I get the speed of an agent reviewing everything while I stay in control of the decisions that carry the most risk. So if you want an agent that reviews your contracts the way I just showed you and flags risk across everything you've signed, click the first link in the description to book a demo with Legartis. On the call, we'll run it against a few of your own contracts so you can see what it catches and then show you exactly what setting it up for your team would look like. So again, you can book the demo by clicking the first link below this video. Now, if you want to make sure you're fully in the loop when it comes to AI agents on legal teams, then check out this video next.